Hello everybody and welcome back to Sunmi Learns. If you're new here, my name is Sunmi and on my channel I try to learn something new every week. And unfortunately I haven't been posting for like the past year or so. So I decided that it's finally time to come back to YouTube and post videos again. And lately, sadly, I have not been doing a lot of learning like in the way I was before, but something that I've been really enjoying lately is reading. I've been reading a lot of books. So I thought it would be fun to share with you all books that I've read since this year has started. Maybe moving forward, I'll start doing like monthly wrap-ups, but for now, I just have a bunch of books that I read. Fully, I've read 30 books, but then I've technically read 33 books. I did not finish 3 books, but I'll still talk about them. So either way, since there are so many books, I don't want this video to be like extremely long. So I'm just going to have to like give a really short summary of each of the books and tell you guys how I rated them. And I hope that you will be able to find a book that you're remotely interested in from this video. So yeah. So I'm going to start with the book that started this desire to read, or I should say the books because it's a series, which is the Selection series. Every time I try to explain the synopsis of this book, I just do not do a good job. So I'm going to read the synopsis from Goodreads to you all so you know what the book's about. So it says, for 35 girls, the selection is the chance of a lifetime, the opportunity to escape the life laid out for them since birth, to be swept up in a world of glittering gowns and priceless jewels, to live in a palace and compete for the heart of gorgeous Prince Maxon. I'm realizing how cheesy this synopsis sounds. But for America's singer, being selected is a nightmare. It means turning her back on her secret love with Aspen, who is a caste below her, leaving her home to enter a fierce competition for a crown she does not want, living in a palace that is constantly threatened by violent rebel attacks. Then America meets Prince Maxon. Gradually, she starts to question all the plans she's made for herself, and she realizes that the life she's always dreamed of may not compare to a future she never imagined. So that is way better than I could have explained it. But it's such a good book. So the genre is like a dystopian / romance novel, and there are 5 books in the series. I'll pop up the pictures on the screen somewhere. But yeah, there are 5 books in the series, and I would say as a whole, I'd say the first 3 books in the series, which is the Selection, the Elite, and the One, I would give that 5 stars. Fantastic. Literally, I read all 3 books in 3 days. I would have read it like even quicker, probably in 1 day, if not for the fact that I had to go to work. But I was like, these books were so engaging, so much fun. They made me like really desire to read again. I also love that there was like a mystery element. There was just a lot of fun to it. The latter 2 books in the series, the story kind of changed a little bit and we followed a different character, and I did not enjoy the character, so I don't know if I recommend it. So another book that I read this month was The Inheritance Games. If you are on TikTok or like Instagram and you follow like book creators, you've probably heard about The Inheritance Games. It's quite popular now, but I actually think contrary to like most people, I did not enjoy this book. This book actually caused me pain. Like it felt like I was really struggling to finish the book. So the synopsis or the story of the book is there's a girl named Avery. All of a sudden, she was contacted by this billionaire's grandson, and she was told that the billionaire who passed away had left like a huge sum of money to her. So the book just follows like her as she tries to discover, along with the grandsons of this billionaire, why the billionaire left her with so much money. And yeah, so that's pretty much what the book is about. It's supposed to be a mystery. The chapters are really, really short. It's like, I think like 2 pages or maybe 3 pages per chapter, which some people seem to enjoy. But I found that really frustrating. I don't know why. I did not like that I had really short chapters because it just felt, I did not enjoy the book is what I'm trying to say. I also just found that at the end of this book, I was not satisfied at all. To me, there's still a cliffhanger because there's a sequel to this book. But at least the little that we saw at the end of the book, I was like, are you kidding me? So that's what I just like, this is what I read all these pages for. Like, you know, the ending has to be satisfying in a book, but I felt like the ending in this was not satisfying. So I gave it, I think, a 3-star. Then another book that I read was Tokyo Ever After. So a friend recommended this book to me because she really loved it. And the book follows a girl named I think her name is Emiko. But yes, the book follows this girl who finds out she lives in the Bay Area, but then she finds out that her father, who she had never met, is the Crown Prince of Japan. So the book follows the story of like her going to Japan and learning just what it means to be Japanese and getting used to the culture, but also like learning how to be a princess and things like that. It's had like some coming of age elements, and there's also like a romance in the book. I don't want to spoil who the romance is with, I guess, but there is a romance in the book as well. I thought it was a really fun book. I really did enjoy it. I read it also very quickly, but I think when I read it, right after I read it, I rated it 5 stars, I believe, but I actually think I'll probably rate it like 4 stars. Yeah, it was good, but I don't think it was like mind-blowingly good, which is what I would give 5 stars. Oh, and there's also a sequel to this book actually coming out, I think in May, so that would be really cool. It's called Tokyo Dreaming, and I plan to read that book as well. And then another book I read was Tweet Cute. So Tweet Cute, as you can tell, I really like the romance genre. I like books that like cute, fluffy, escapism type of books. So the next book that I read is Tweet Cute. So Tweet Cute is a book that follows a girl named Pepper and a guy named Jack. And Pepper and Jack go to the same school. Pepper's parents own this really big chain restaurant, and then Jack's parents own this like small deli restaurant. And Pepper and Jack end up in a Twitter war because Jack's parents' restaurant, they accuse Pepper's family's restaurant. Sorry, that's confusing. They accuse Pepper's family's restaurant of stealing their cheese recipe, their grilled cheese recipe. Yes, that's what it was. So anyways, Pepper and Jack end up in this Twitter war, but which like leads to a lot of like strife between them, but they don't realize that they are also talking to each other on this anonymous app. Like both of them are on this app that where you can talk to people in the same high school anonymously, and they are falling for each other on this anonymous app, but they don't realize that it is the people they are having a Twitter war with. That was not my best explanation, but I think you get the point. It's a very like cliche storyline, but I remember I read this because I just wanted something like fluffy, something easy to read. And I'll pop up on the screen some of the messages I sent to my friend as I was reading this book because I just think it's really funny. I think I described this book as, to me at least, it was so bad it was good. Like I felt like I was cringing so much of this book, and I was like, oh my goodness, but then it also kept me really engaged. So overall I give it a 3 star. So another book that I read is called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. So do not be misled by the title. It's in fact does not give you a guide on how to murder. So the book just follows a girl named Pip who decided to do her capstone project, her senior capstone project, on a murder case. This was a murder case that happened in the town where she lives 5 years ago. It was a murder case about a girl who was supposedly killed by her boyfriend. Pip did not believe that the boyfriend actually killed the girl. So Pip reopened the case because she wanted to prove the boy's innocence, I guess. The book was really, really fantastic. Like I really, really enjoyed this book. Thus far, this has definitely been on like my top 5 of the year. So really good book. I think I'd give it like a 4.5. Before I gave it a 5 stars, but then I don't know, 4.5, 5, maybe 4.5 because I feel like 5 is reserved for like absolute perfection. There's actually 2 more books that's like sequels to this book because it's a series, so I'm really excited to read those as well. Very good book. So the next book that I read is a book called Shadow and Bone. So this is the first book in a like fantasy trilogy, and the book follows a girl named Alina in this country called Rafka. And in this country, there's something called the Shadowfold. Within the Shadowfold, there are these monsters who like feast on human flesh. Either ways, one day they find that Alina has like these powers that they really like could be really useful to closing the Shadowfold. So she then gets invited to join this like group of the people with powers. Either ways, she like joins them, and she's then trained on how to develop her powers so she can supposedly use it to close the Shadowfold. But then there are a lot of like twists and turns, things happen, things change. I think it was an enjoyable story. Actually, there's even a Netflix series based on the book. But then I think overall, while I feel like the book had potential, but then it just didn't, to me at least, it didn't reach up to that potential. I felt like I read it and I was like, okay, like to me, it wasn't like fantastic. I feel like based on the storyline, I thought it would be like this fantastic, like really engaging story. But then honestly, I was just like reading it just because I'd already started and I needed to finish. It wasn't bad, it wasn't like good. To me, it was just meh. So I gave it, I think, a 4-star because or maybe like, yeah, I should say maybe I'll give it like a 3.5 now looking back. Another book I read was My Stubborn Heart. Again, this was just one of those, I wanted a really cheesy, like good book, a cheesy fluffy book to like enthrall me, but this book actually frustrated me. I think I gave this book 2 stars, which, yeah, one of my lowest of the, I don't know, the book just, either ways, I should tell you what the book is about. So the book is about a girl, I can't even remember her name, that's how much I blocked this book out of my memory. So the book is about a girl who moves back to her like hometown in, I think, Pennsylvania with her like grandmother. Yeah, the book follows her and this guy that she meets there. He had actually lost his wife. Yeah, so he was this like closed off, yeah, guy. And either ways, it follows her story there. The book is also a Christian book, so it kind of follows like her being a Christian and him not being, and kind of like his introduction to faith. And yeah, honestly, I feel like I've blocked the book out. Maybe, yeah, that it just wasn't memorable enough. I don't really remember anything. There was a YouTuber who I watched, she really liked it, which is why I thought I'd give it a try. But honestly, I was like, no. I just didn't like the way some topics were handled in the book, so nah. Then another book that I read was Love and Gelato. This is also another book that is really popular in like Book Talk and like Bookstagram. Yes, it's quite popular. But Love and Gelato follows a girl who moved to Italy based on like her mom's request. Her mom passed away and this was her mom's request, that she moved to Italy for the summer and just spend some time there with this man who is one of her mom's friends. Either way, so the book just follows her time in Italy and her like developing relationship with this guy who she meets there in Italy. But the book also ends up being a mystery, actually, kind of, because the girl ends up like wanting to figure out who her father is, and she gets her mom's journal and then she uses the journal to kind of piece together who her father is. This book, I feel like I also gave maybe like 2.5, or I feel like 3 stars is maybe 3 stars. Because I just feel like, for one, the mystery part of this book made no sense to me. Like, the girl was supposed to be using this journal to figure out like who her father was. But then she would read like maybe 2 pages of the journal, then she'd take like some drastic decisions, and then she would come back to read the journal and she's like, oh, that's what happened. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like half her problems would have been solved if she just finished the journal and then got the answers that she was looking for. So I feel like that was just the author wanting to like stretch the story, which I did not appreciate. But other than that, I guess other aspects were good. I liked the guy, the male protagonist in this story. I think he was really sweet. I did like him. So another book that I read this month was Love and a Little White Lie. This was also a book that was recommended by a YouTuber that I really like, and I also thought the premise was just kind of funny. So this book is also a Christian book, but it follows a girl who isn't a Christian. She's an atheist, and because she just really needs a job, she decides to join this church, and she kind of, I guess, lying by omission, I guess. She joins the church, she starts working for the church, even though she isn't a Christian. And I thought that was such like a funny premise. So I thought it to be a fun book. And of course, as with any book that I'll probably read for a long time, it also includes a romance. So I don't know, I feel like what I'm noticing at least is that Christian fiction books, they just kind of, I haven't found many ones that I really, really love. I would love to find more that I like, but I feel like they're just slower in pace. And then, yeah, so at least that was my experience with this as well. I didn't hate it, but I don't think I like loved it. I believe I gave it a 3-star. And to be fair, the book did keep me on my toes somewhat, because I was a bit confused like who the love interest was going to be, because of course I knew there was going to be a love interest. It's a romance book, there is a love interest, but I just did not know who it was going to be. So that was a little bit confusing, but still, I guess overall it was good. Then another book that I read, which I do not even need to say the synopsis for because I'm sure you already know, was Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix. So I started Harry Potter last year, and I think I read, the first 4 books. So then I just read this 5th book. 5-star for every Harry Potter book, honestly. Even some that I did not love. I think currently my least favorite Harry Potter book, which seems to be shocking to most people, is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I didn't really love that one, but even then I'd still give it a 5 stars. So The Order of the Phoenix, absolutely 5 stars. Don't need to say more. Hi, so this is editing Sunmi. I am now realizing how long this video is, so I'm going to split it into 2 parts. So make sure that you watch the second part. But thank you all so much for watching this video. Oh, also, in the second part, I also discussed non-fiction books that I read. So just in case you thought I only read fiction, no, I also read non-fiction. But yes, thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Please do comment down below any books that you have read this year or any books that you intend to read. And yeah, I'll hopefully see you in the next video. Bye!